Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Denes Boros, and this is game 8 between Carlsen and the challenger Jan Nepomniachtchi. And here we go again. Here comes e4, e5. Nepomniachtchi goes for the Petroff yet again. Not a bad choice, but this time Carlsen has expected this and sort of had this idea and thought that this is likely to happen. So he had preparation. d4, knight takes e4, here, d5 takes, knight d7, take, knight d2, and this is somewhat of a new flick that they do. Knight takes d2, takes, bishop d6, castles, and here Nepomniachtchi played h5, which was somewhat surprising, not what Nepo usually would have expected to be playing, because this is the other one and main line. Instead, Nepomniachtchi went for h5. And this is the little bit of a moment I do have to stop and mention one thing very, very important. Well, even though Game 6 has been a couple of days ago, already has quite a big of an effect on the players. More predominantly, both of them are actually sort of getting fatigued. And even though Carlsen is the leopard chasing the prey at this moment, even the leopard sometimes gets tired, even though the performance is monstrous. So for that very reason, Carlsen came up with this move of Queen E1 check, and Nepomniachtchi probably had the wrong mindset of trying to complicate matters instead of just keeping it steady and slow, because a draw wouldn't have been so catastrophic after all. But Carlsen here spent and tanked here a little bit, went for Queen E1 check, and that's not a bad idea. He is, as well as Nepo, a bit exhausted from that important game between him and Nepo at game 6, and now he's going for trades, probably aiming to peter it out to a draw. So Queen e7 would have been the choice, but you do have to have a little bit of a grit to admit that, there's nothing much happening yet. A draw is not the end of the world. A lot of rounds still yet to go. So Queen e7 probably would have ended in some trades and a draw. But Nepo feels like he's in a fighting mood and felt that this position is close enough to a draw, which is true, but it's not a position where black can pretend for an advantage for a split second. Bishop b4. And what Carlsen does very well, that he continues with the same vein, same idea, and same concept. He is not trying to mess around too much. Bishop takes, queen d2, rook e8, rook e1, rook h6, and real kudos for queen g5 here by Carlsen, basically freezing that rook on h6 and constantly putting pressure on those pawns. And even though the position objectively isn't far from equal, it is still very much unpleasant for the black player. c6, rook takes, bishop takes, rook e1. White is just exchanging off black's only good active piece, but it also kind of pinpoints it's black who is sort of lacking a move, or a move that is constructive. Queen f6, and Carlsen goes for queen e3. It's interesting to me that many commentators and viewers were going for h4 because they think that, that is the typical Carlsen with the anaconda type of chess. Well, they might be right for the anaconda type of chess, but Carlsen is sort of the milkman, and when he sees milk, he will do his best to milk it as much as possible. So he's keeping the queens on the board. The more pieces you have, the more likely you can do something with it. Bishop d7, h3, and it's also a sign of a super talent when you realize that your opponent really doesn't have an idea. Anytime you'd go queen e6, you're actually getting me closer to your weaknesses. So nothing that would strike as simple is really that good for Nepomniachtchi. So these h3 moves are the best ones because they're improving your position, avoids any back rank, and also sort of passes the ball towards Nepomniachtchi, asking what are you going to do now. So h4, which is considered somewhat of an idea, maybe hoping for a g5, g4, but it's also a weakness on h4 and a potential target. And here it's funny to me that, again, commentators, pundits, sort of were not suggesting this move of c4, and I guess that's what happens when you get softened by computer analysis. You sort of get a bit too dogmatic. c4 is anti-dogmatic, saying, yes, I am going to have an isolated pawn right now. However, your king is iffy, your pieces are all over the place, and your queenside pawns are also a little bit loose. So actually, if you're objective enough, this is a legitimate way of claiming a small advantage as a white. And now, next move, I would actually utter as a sort of fatigue by the challenger. I do think that in a normal circumstance, he would go king to g8 and still try to hold on for a little bit longer. And I do think white is better, but nothing decisive yet. b5 is the after effect of the game 6. Both of the players are tired, and Nepomniachtchi's choice of trying to continue on fighting was probably ill-advised and basically just gave a chance for Carlsen. Now, Carlsen has a fantastic move here. That is queen to a3 check. And unfortunately for Nepomniachtchi, blocking is not enough because there's queen a8 check and you lose the game. King g8, queen takes a7, and practically now it's over because even this counter sacrifice on h3 does not work due to queen takes f7 takes rook e8, important intermezzo. After bishop takes f7, black is just down a pawn. So queen d8, bishop b3, rook d6, rook e4, and in comes again some superb technique by Carlsen over defending his pieces, not really rushing to convert. Trades, of course, if you're up a pawn, trading is good. Queen c5, centralizing the queen that was on a vacation on the queen side. Queen a5, captures, check. Queen e4, b3, check, takes on b5, and slowly but surely, black is actually refused counterplay, and the game is soon enough petering out, with black having 0 to none chances to hold. Queen c3, king g1, check, queen d1, d5. Now the pawn starts pushing down the board, takes queen f3, and seeing that there's no counter chances left, here Nepomniachtchi resigned. So Nepomniachtchi made a fatal mistake by not accepting the draw, and probably that would have been an important talk between the Nepo fans / seconds there to accept the draw and move on, because this time this means that from 1-0 it's 2-0 for the reigning world champion, and the Norwegian will have a very good chance closing the match out soon enough, as Nepo will have to take some risks in the upcoming games. Otherwise, it is game, set, and match. So thank you so much for watching this recap, and if you have any questions, comments, do post it below. I'd be happy to take a look. Thank you so much for watching.